Hey everyone, today we're going to be reading Legends of Magic Book 4, Flash Magnus and the Royal Legion. Sunburst, you get out here right this moment. Don't you make me tear down this door. You know I'll do it. Wait, I'm coming. Why do you always insist on destroying my door? Because you were very slow to answer it, and because I had to knock on it at all. What? I sent you a message days ago letting you know that Twilight and I were going to be in Canterlot and that I wanted to get lunch with my friend while we were here. With you living in the Crystal Empire, I feel like I never see you. You did? Yes, and not only was there no response, I've been here for 2 days and you haven't seen me once. Well, I guess maybe I've been a bit distracted. You don't say. What could possibly be so fascinating? Hold on, be careful. Flash Magnus and the Royal Legion. I heard this story when I was a foal. You may have heard stories about him, but this is a new one. So instead of spending time with visiting your friend, you're cooped up in here reading Pegasi folktales. That makes me feel much better. No, you don't understand. These were written by Starswirl the Bearded. No pony has read them in over 1,000 years, if they had even read them then. So you're saying that these are stories no pony has ever read before. Right. And they have all sorts of insights in equestrian history. They could be very important. Okay, you've convinced me. Convinced you of what? As your friend, since you refuse to show up to lunch or dinner with me, I will sit here with you and allow you to read me one of these stories. You may proceed. What? You were going to read it, weren't you? Well, read it to me, and we can spend the time together. Oh, okay. You know, I had planned on reading on my bed. I'm sure your desk will be more comfortable. Besides, you need to really project so I can hear you. I guess that makes sense. And do all the voices. That's the best part. In Cloudsdale, the Pegasus children are raised on the tales of the old Royal Legion. And of those great warriors, the one held with the most esteem is Flash Magnus. Of course, Flash Magnus is most famous for his bravery in facing dragons and his use of his shield. But just as when you look at Cloudsdale from below, that shows you only a small part of the whole. Flash Magnus was young during his fabled encounter with the dragons, and had many more adventures ahead of him. Perhaps the most of note was the Royal Legion's battle with the Dread Storm. Every pony, get to the runway now. We have an emergency on our hands. Hey, Grimhoof, what's going on? Captain Ironhead is calling an emergency briefing. All hands on deck. Flash Magnus knew Captain Ironhead was level-headed. He never panicked, and he looked at every situation strategically. He never made a rash call. If Captain Ironhead said there was an emergency, it had to be major. What's all this about? I heard it was something about chocolate milk rain. That's nonsense. I heard it was dragons again. Attention! Listen up, you winged warriors. Now, we're about to face a threat like we've never faced before, and I need all of you at your best, understand? There's been an accident at the weather factory. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but somehow a batch of storm clouds they were producing got quadrupled. Settle down now. Anyway, those clouds hit a scheduled warm front and got even bigger. We have a genuine superstorm on our hands. As you can imagine, the storm did a number on the weather control coming out of the factory, so now it falls on us. Sir, where's the storm now? It's over Griffin territory, Flash Magnus, but we're much more concerned about where it's going. It's on a collision course with Cloudsdale. Most of the garrison will be going to Cloudsdale as the last line of defense, But the 5 fastest, including myself, are going to try to head this thing off before it gets anywhere close to Cloudsdale. We're going to show that storm who's the boss around here. The rest of you get to Cloudsdale. I need these 4 ponies in the air with me now. Nimbus Dash, Bella Breeze, Flash Magnus, and the 5th fastest, Grimhoof. Now, you 4 listen up. This storm is like nothing we've ever seen before. We probably won't be able to cut through the middle of it. We'll have to take bits off of it and trim it down. Oh, come on, old-timer. It's just a storm, right? We've got this. You take that approach, and you're going to end up headfirst through some pony's house. These things are dangerous. I think what Nimbus was trying to say is that it's not like a living opponent. Storms don't counterattack. True enough, but that makes them all the more dangerous. Storms are unpredictable. There's no saying what they'll do. We're getting close now. Would you look at that thing? Is that the storm? It's enormous. Okay, Legionnaires, you know what to do. Make your ponies proud. Hold up! Don't you fly an inch further or you'll have to answer to me and my team. Yeah? And who are you? Name's Blackbeak, head of the Royal Griffin Defense Force. Well, I'm Ironhead, captain of the Royal Legion, and we are here to deal with the Rogue Storm. By Rogue Storm, you mean the weapon you cooked up to take out the Griffins? What? You tell everyone you're going to help control the weather, and then it just so happens that you let loose a storm like this on us. Now see here, it was an accident. The weather factory just... I don't believe in accidents. I don't know what you aim to do with that storm, but it's in Griffin territory, which means you don't go near it without my say-so. Your citizens are... Get lost, pony. Fine, you want to get your feathers ripped out by a storm? You go right on ahead. We'll be waiting at the border. You feel free to go back on your cushy cloud house. The Griffins will handle this. We're not really going away, right? We're going to sneak to the storm another way, right? You want us to go to war with the Griffins the same day we unleash the storm of the century? No, but Griffins are going to get hurt. Then that's on Blackbeak's head, not ours. As soon as the storm crosses the border, we're going to take it out. Meanwhile, back at the storm, Blackbeak was bringing his team to bear. Okay, Griffins, this is your time. Are you ready? Yeah. You going to show those ponies how Griffins get things done? Yeah. Then let's do this. Well, I can't see what's going on, but it doesn't look like that storm's getting any smaller. As soon as this thing goes over the border, be ready. Captain, where is the border anyway? See that river there? That's where the Griffin Kingdom stops and the Pegasus Kingdom begins. So as soon as it clears that we're on the job? Affirmative. But sir, that town is right in the path of the storm. So it is. We have to help them. Do we? We have to. There are families down there. Well, it's too bad for them. Blackbeak is a jerk. We've been warned not to cross the line, and we do not cross this line. But, Magnus, that's an order. You understand? Yes, sir. And a little while later, in the small town of Beakwick, the sky began to darken. And all at once it became obvious to the townsfolk that the Royal Griffin Defense Force had failed. First came the darkness, then the wind, then came the worst of the storm. By that time the wind was too heavy for young griffins to fly, and they were trapped between the storm and the river canyon. Ironhead saw what was happening, but his mind was made up. As soon as that thing gets over the river, you know what to do. We don't want our ponies ending up like them. Sir, permission to conduct a rescue for the griffins of that town? Denied. But sir, you go over that line as a representative of the Royal Legion, you start a war. Which way do you think more griffins get hurt? But Flash Magnus had made up his mind too. He had made it up before he even asked. Then I'm afraid I quit, sir. Magnus, get back here. But Flash was already moving too fast to hear his captain. The sound of the storm drowned out everything. Everything but the knowledge that he had to save these griffins. Hang on, kids. Huh? Gotta go faster. Gotta save them. But Flash knew he wasn't fast enough. No matter how quickly he moved, he would never be able to save all of these griffins with speed alone. But sometimes the greatest weapon a hero has is not their speed or strength. Kid's a fool. No griffin is going to build him a statue when he gets hurt helping them. I'm going with or without you two. It's the right thing to do. I really don't want to get kicked out of the Legion. Grimmy, fine. But the example they set for others. Sorry, boss. We got a fellow Legionnaire to help. Please don't be mad. Be mad, but please don't kick us out. Get back here. Flash Magnus would never have been able to save the village alone. But once he put 4 of the 5 fastest Pegasi in Equestria on the task, look out below, everyone. It tends to get done quickly. And no sooner were they done than the storm finally crossed over the boundary. Sir, I know I'm probably not welcome in the Legion anymore, but I hope you don't mind if I still give you a hoof with the storm. Come on, young bucks. We'll sort all of this out after Cloudsdale is safe. Yes, sir. Now let's get in formation and bring the storm down. And once the team started, there was no stopping them. Because while they didn't have as much bluster as the Griffins had, they had teamwork. They clipped the clouds with precision. They whisked away the rain. They dodged the lightning. And just like that, the strongest storm in Equestria was stopped before it ever got close to Cloudsdale. Hooray! Yay! They did it! Our heroes! And the Royal Legion became heroes to the Griffins. In fact, while you may hear a story about the dragons more in Cloudsdale, I'm told if you ask about Flash Magnus and Griffonstone, you'll hear this tale. And not only were those 4 Pegasi not kicked out of the Royal Legion, they were awarded special medals for valor. For their actions brought the 2 kingdoms closer together and began a trend of young Griffins and Pegasi attending flight school together. And Flash Magnus would go on to share several more great adventures. So that's the myth of how Griffins and Pegasi began training together, eh? According to Star Swirl. I don't know, it sounds like a plot from one of Spike's comic books. I prefer my stories to be more realistic. It's a tall tale, it's not supposed to be realistic. But Griffins and Pegasi really do train together. I want to know the real history, not some jumped-up fairy tale. Well, it's not uncommon for myths and legends for writers to write stories that explain the nuances of an unexplained phenomenon. I suppose, but it seems like we'd have a record of a thing like this. I'll have to consult the library. Boy, Twilight and I are really starting to have an impact on you. Oh, please. I knew how to use a library before I met you two. Knowing and doing are 2 different things. I'm suddenly very hungry. Are you still up for that dinner you were going on about? I'd like that.